In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an AI agent that can enrich data and do research for sales cold outreach. This is going to be a nice and short one. I'll give you a little taste for how powerful agentic systems can be and really how much you can get done with very little input. Let's just dive straight into what we're going to be building. This is an automation that helps us do research on people. To show you how this works, I've gathered a list of 10 VCs in London and the company that they work for. What we're going to do is use AI to go and search the web to get all the specific details for each of these people. Now, this flow came off the back of helping a friend with his cold messaging outreach. So this was not specifically for VCs, but I thought these are people that are less likely to get offended if I post them on a YouTube video. If we come in and actually look at the flow, you can see there's not that many different steps here. First of all, this is N8N. This is just software that makes it really easy to make automations and flows. These are all things that you could do in custom code, but instead of taking hours, days, weeks, you can set things up in a matter of minutes, especially when it comes to dealing with AI tooling. This is what we've got in the middle here. This is the bulk of the logic that we're going to use AI to make decisions on when to search the web and deciding if we have enough detail. That's the agentic nature of this here, the fact that we're using AI to make decisions in this process of what to search and if we've searched enough. Before we dive deeper into what each of these do and then how you can set this all up yourself, I'm just going to run it, see it in action, see what it comes up with. And we're done. We're going to come up here and see the results. 10 people, we found their company's website, person's profile on the company website, their LinkedIn, their Twitter if they have one, their email address. Quite often these people have that listed on their webpage. And then we've written a little bio of the person just to quickly see what this person's about. And that has worked really well on all 10 of these. This took just under 6 minutes to run, and I've sat and watched this, but you would have this happening in the background. That's really the benefit of automation, that you don't have to sit and go through this. Things can happen in the background. Let's come back into the flow and have a look at what each part of this is actually doing. There are some boring things that just make the flow work. First of all, we're getting from Google Sheets. Very simple. We've got an ID. We're reading all of the rows. We've got a loop over. So for each of the 10 that we've got, we're going to loop over this entire flow and repeat. Before we send to AI, we're setting some data in tools input. This just makes it nice and easy for testing, that we can change these out and test the AI in development. And then we're inserting the details that we get from AI into Google Sheets. We're just updating the row that we fetched from. And then we've got a wait. And in here, we are waiting for 20 seconds. And all this does is reduces the load on our Google search so that we're not hitting API limits. What about the meaty, interesting stuff and everything related to this AI using tools, research? What we've got here is an N8N tool agent. We're linked up to a model. I'm using OpenAI's 4.0 Mini because it's nice and cheap. This has worked really well with this. I'll normally start with a cheaper model, see if things work fine, and if they do, continue with that. We actually look at the AI node that we've got here, which is calling this OpenAI. This is actually relatively straightforward. There's some things in here to note that are pretty interesting. We'll open this up. This is all that I've given the AI to do this. All I've told it is that your role is an expert at researching people. You're going to research this person from this company. You can make multiple tool calls. I've said you can only call up to 4 for each person. That should be enough Google searches to get all of these. After each call, check if you've got enough details. If you do, then respond. If you don't, then make another search. Told it to start broad and then go narrow. And then I've said, once you've got all the details, write a bio that's tweet length. This is literally the entire prompt that we've needed to do this. The extra bits come from our tooling and then telling it what our response format is. And that actually adds a lot to this here and it gives it more details and tells the AI what to actually do in the process. So let's look at them. First one to look at is the JSON parser here. This is the output data. We're telling our agent what would we like the response to be. We've just used an N8N structured output parser. Now this might look a little bit complex, but I got ChatGPT to write all of this. What I did was just told it, what am I looking to search for? All these columns, what are each of them? And then told it to write me a schema for OpenAI. And this details goes into the prompt when we're searching through so that it knows what to respond with and what each of these parts are. And that really helps it know what to do whilst it's carrying out the search. The next thing to look at is the tooling that we provide to OpenAI. So these are, what can it do? We've given it tools that it can use. What are those tools that it can use? Now, if you're not aware, tools when it comes to AI and LLMs is just allowing it to do other things. We managed to get all of this done with one single tool, which is searching Google. Now, searching Google is simple for you and me because we go to google.com, searching what we want. But the AI doesn't have access to our browser. It can't do all of those things. So how do we get it to search AI through a flow? This was actually more difficult than I expected. I first started with Google Search Console, which is programmable search engine. What I later moved to, and found it to be a lot better in terms of cost, was Firecrawl. Firecrawl is a service that allows you to scrape websites, but they've also got an API for searching Google. So how does this tool actually work? First of all, we came in, we've added a tool, and we need to give the AI a description of what this actually is. And this description is, call this to make Google searches using Firecrawl Search, pass a query with what you would like to search Google to get the desired results. It's going to pass a query through here. Now, setting this up is actually really straightforward. The only thing we need to do is give it the URL, tell it an authorization header. Now, this is just for authenticating who you are. Tell it bearer, give it your token. And then the only extra thing we had to do was pass in the query. What is the query coming from AI? And that's what this is doing here, saying whatever the AI passes us. So left, query. We're going to pass that in here. And I've said we want the fetch page content to be false. Because Firecrawl is a scraping service, they can go and fetch all the websites and get the details. But for this case, we didn't need it. If the search had been poor, I might have added it in, but doing false makes this nice and quick. Cars up Google searches for. The only other thing in here was making the data a little bit better for coming back to AI. AI works on prompt length. If the prompt is too long, even if it's got context window, it is less likely to read the data. So you only want to be giving it what is absolutely necessary. I've told it that we're expecting JSON, and the field that we're getting data back on is data. And then what it's going to do is feed all of this into the AI. For each search, it will get a bunch of these queries, the things that it needs. It will try and figure out, can I get their Twitter, LinkedIn, email address from these searches? And then once it's done up to 4 searches, it's continually looking, can I meet this schema? And if yes, then I return with all the details. And nice example here, this one actually had to have all. And that's it, that's the flow. If you'd like to set up a system just like this yourself, then I've linked a blueprint below. And to install that, you just come up to here, click import from file, and it'll set this all up exactly as is. The things that you'll need to connect up is your own Google Sheets, create your own sheet here. You'll need to connect up OpenAI. I will link below how to get an OpenAI key. And then you'll need to get your own Firecrawl key, which again, I'll link below. This is all really cheap to do. Firecrawl, you can run something like 500 credits for free. And then OpenAI, you could run all of this on $2-3 to go and test it.